Welcome to the new video. In this recap, in 2003, in Hawaii, a young surfer named Bethany was preparing for the junior tournament competition. The daughter of surfers Tom and Sherry, Bethany fell in love with the sport at an early age and used to practice maneuvers with her brothers Noah and Timmy. During her childhood, she met Alana, who would become her best friend and surfing partner. Now, at 13 years old, the two enter the competition together, and after grabbing their boards, they head out to sea, where they wait for the perfect wave. Bethany's rival, Melina, also shows up, and as soon as the competition begins, the three compete to see who can perform the best maneuvers. Alana is the first and takes the lead in the scoring, impressing the judges with her skill. Next, Bethany tries to catch the wave, but Melina gets ahead of her and takes her place, managing to outperform Alana. Irritated, Bethany returns to the beach, and her father advises her to wait for a better wave and swim faster. Minutes later, it's time for the second session, and the competitors try to catch another wave. This time, Bethany follows her father's advice and is the first to get on her board, managing to ride the crest of the wave and performing maneuvers that are unusual for a girl her age. At the end of the competition, Bethany wins the tournament in first place, with Alana coming in third and Melina in second. The young girl is very happy with the result, but her rival doesn't even want to share the podium with the other participants and leaves. After the award ceremony, Bethany goes to talk to her parents, who bring her good news. Thanks to her daughter's performance, a professional surfing company is willing to sponsor her for the long-awaited regional championship. She is happy with the news and promises to do her best to win the next competition. Later, Bethany and Alana attend a meeting with the missionary group, where Sarah, one of the instructors, gives the young people a lesson on perspective. She shows several images and asks what each one represents, but none of the students can get the answer right. Sarah then shows the photos without the zoom and leaves a lesson for the kids, that in some moments in life, we don't understand why we go through so many difficulties. However, if we look at it from another perspective, everything becomes clearer, and we learn to deal with these moments in the best way possible. These words leave Bethany thoughtful, and after the meeting, she goes to talk to Sarah, who is organizing the young people's trip to Mexico. The goal is to take donations to orphanages in the region, but Bethany says she can't go because she needs to train before the regional competition. Sarah can't hide her disappointment at Bethany's absence, but she accepts her decision. The next day, the girl feels guilty for not participating in the trip, but Alana advises her to focus on training. In addition, the two received an invitation to a beach party, and even without their parents' permission, the friends decide to sneak out. Once there, the girls join their friend Kiyoki and head to the sea with their surfboards, where they watch the fireworks light up the sky. Bethany is impressed by the view, but when it starts to get late, she and Alana have to go home. The next morning, the two girls have breakfast at Bethany's house and get ready for the Halloween holiday. However, Sherry already knows that they snuck out, and makes them do extra homework as punishment. Bethany apologizes for leaving without telling anyone, and the two promise that it won't happen again. After the conversation, the family gathers for breakfast, but Tommy announces that he has to leave because he is going to the doctor for knee surgery. His family wishes him good luck, and after the meal, Bethany goes to surf at the beach with Alana, her brother, and her father. The group then hits the road, parks the car in a forest near the coast, and carries their surfboards the rest of the way. As soon as they arrive at the beach, everyone has fun catching waves on a day of training and fun like any other. Shortly after, they decide to rest on their boards, and Alana invites Bethany to go shopping because she needs new clothes for the regional competition. However, from the depths of the sea, a tiger shark suddenly appears and attacks Bethany's arm. Alana despairs and calls for her father, who quickly swims toward the girls, alongside Byron. The two find Bethany seriously injured, and everyone joins forces to bring the girl back to shore. As they leave the sea, Holt tells his children to hold Bethany and place her on the board, which will serve as a makeshift stretcher. While bandaging the girl's arm, he tells Byron to get his cell phone from the car and call emergency services. The boy runs at full speed, but when he finds the truck, the doors are locked, and his father has the keys. However, there is no time to lose, and he uses a rock to break the window and immediately calls the hospital. Meanwhile, Tommy is in the operating room with Dr. David waiting for the anesthesia to take effect when a nurse says there is an emergency call because a girl has been attacked by a shark at the beach. Upon hearing this, Tommy despairs and asks who it was, but Dr. David tells him to calm down and goes to see what happened. In addition to calling emergency services, Byron also contacts Sherry, who, upon learning about the incident with her daughter, rushes desperately to the hospital. Finally, Byron returns to the beach and helps Holt and Alana carry Bethany, and despite her injury, she does her best to stay calm. As soon as the three leave the young woman in the truck bed, Holt speeds toward the road, where he encounters the ambulance coming toward him. He then helps the paramedics carry Bethany, who does her best to stay conscious. Finally, the ambulance arrives at the hospital, and before they go in, Sherry and Noah run towards Bethany and accompany the doctors to the room. Inside, Tommy sees Bethany being taken away on a stretcher, and despite his bad knee, he tries to go to his daughter, but is stopped by a nurse. The girl is then taken to the operating room to begin surgery, and all her family can do is wait, hoping for the best. Hours later, the surgery is complete, and Bethany is safe, but the shark bite has resulted in the removal of her arm. As soon as the girl wakes up, her family gathers around her, relieved that she survived the attack. In addition to them, Holt appears in the room, and even though he is happy for Bethany's recovery, he feels guilty for what happened. However, the young woman thanks him for saving her life and says that if it weren't for him, she would never see her family again. Shortly after, Dr. David appears in the room to talk to Bethany about her condition. He warns that because of the shark bite, the girl lost 60% of her blood, and in addition to her recovery period in the hospital, Bethany will have a new phase of adaptation ahead of her. Even so, the doctor congratulates the girl for her calmness and courage in the face of the whole incident, and tells her parents that she is a true miracle. During the night, Tommy stays by his daughter's side when Bethany asks when she will be able to surf again. Although there is no prediction of when his daughter will be discharged, he tells her not to worry, because soon, the two of them will surf together. The next day, Alana visits her friend and apologizes for taking so long to come, but she was afraid that Bethany would not survive on the beach. The two friends hug, and Bethany promises that soon they will surf together again. More days pass, and Bethany is finally discharged and taken home by her mother. However, when they arrive, they find the entrance blocked by a group of reporters trying to get a statement from Bethany. Tommy quickly decides to intervene, gets in the car, and drives away from the reporters, circling around the back. Bethany is surprised by her father's attitude, and despite everything, she tries to stay positive about the whole situation. The family then goes inside to have a snack, but the young woman soon realizes that life will not be easy without one of her arms. In addition to the difficulty of cutting vegetables with a knife, Bethany can't even open a package of bread without help. This reality check makes her lose her appetite, and she goes to her room to unpack her suitcase. Once there, she sees her ukulele and holds it sadly, knowing she will no longer be able to play it. Seeing his daughter's situation, Tommy calls everyone to the table and says he has obtained a prosthetic arm, thanks to sponsorship from a TV station. All Bethany has to do is give an interview wearing the prosthetic arm, and she will be able to use it for as long as necessary. The girl accepts without hesitation, as she wants to get back to surfing as soon as possible. Finally, the family gathers for dinner, but before the meal, Bethany asks everyone to join hands and thank God. Although her parents and siblings don't have much to be thankful for at the moment, they comply with the girl's request. Over the days, Bethany has to relearn simple things, such as changing clothes, tying her hair, and shopping, using only one arm. When it's time to remove the bandages at the hospital, the girl can barely contain her anguish when she looks in the mirror. After leaving the hospital, she goes to meet Sarah, who has returned from her trip to Mexico and has already heard the news. Although she is trying to follow her advice, Bethany admits that it has been difficult to see things from another perspective and does not know why she had to go through this. Sarah then hugs the young woman, saying that no one knows God's plans, but she has faith that something good will come of it. Bethany accepts the advice and continues with her adjustment until one morning, she ventures to make coffee for her family. She also takes the opportunity to ask them to let her return to the sea, as she wants to continue her surfing training. At first, her parents are against the idea, but they eventually accept it for their daughter's sake. So, after breakfast, the whole family, along with Alana, goes to the beach to catch some waves. Bethany struggles to get on the board using one arm, but ends up falling several times due to the force of the water. Still, she doesn't give up, and on another attempt, Bethany catches a wave and manages to balance on the board, making her whole family proud. The girl is so happy about this that she plans to compete in the regional championship as soon as she receives her new prosthesis. Unfortunately, when the day of the interview arrives, the equipment is not the best, and Bethany can't even push herself with it. Because of this, the prosthesis proves useless, and the girl goes back to her room crying, believing that her only hope has been lost. Minutes later, Sherry goes to her daughter's room to talk to her, who says she doesn't know how she will live without surfing. Her mother then tells her that it's okay to give up surfing, but if she wants to try again, she shouldn't let her limitations stop her from doing what she loves. Her family's support helps Bethany regain her motivation, and the next morning, she decides to continue training. Tommy has Noah record everything on camera, and thanks to the videos, the family gives Bethany tips on how to improve her balance on the board. The girl's determination is soon reflected in the results, with Bethany managing to maintain control on the waves, despite the difficulties. Months pass and the time comes for the big regional competition, with Bethany and Alana going together once again. In addition to them, Melina also appears in the competition, determined to beat Bethany at all costs. Before the competitors enter the sea, one of the judges talks to Bethany, saying that she has been authorized to start the competition with a 5-minute head start. However, the girl refuses, as she wants to prove that she can participate in the competition despite her limitations. Finally, all the surfers go into the sea in search of the perfect wave, with Alana and Melina being the first to perform their maneuvers. When it's Bethany's turn, she manages to get on the board, and despite a slight imbalance, the young woman recovers and manages to ride the wave. The audience gives her a standing ovation, but the judges give her a score well below expectations. In the next session, the sea becomes rougher and Melina doesn't miss the chance to catch a wave, passing in front of Bethany. Alana is enraged by this and advances towards the girl, with both of them losing their balance and falling into the water. Meanwhile, Bethany does her best to balance on her board, but fails and begins to be dragged away by the current. The girl does not give up, but the force of the water breaks her board in half, and she is brought back to shore by a lifeguard. When she gets out of the water, Bethany is furious with Alana for interfering in the competition and treating her like someone to be pitied. The young woman is so angry that she runs back to her parents' car, but is stopped by 3 little girls who are impressed by her determination and ask for her autograph. However, Bethany gives them her 3 surfboards as a way of telling everyone that she has given up surfing for good. Later, the family returns home, but Bethany prefers to isolate herself near the beach, not knowing what to do from now on. Shortly after, Tommy shows up and the girl says that since the incident with her arm, nothing makes sense anymore. Her father replies that as long as she is alive, there will always be hope, and advises her to pray and give it time, because soon, the answers will come. While trying to find a new direction, Bethany remembers the missionary group and its project to help the needy. The girl then decides to participate in the next trip, which will be to Thailand, one of the countries hit by the huge Indian Ocean tsunami. Sarah is very happy to see the girl back in the group, and they all travel to the city of Phuket. Once there, Bethany is confronted with a reality very different from her own, with homeless people, separated families, and a city devastated by the force of the sea. The stories of the survivors move Bethany, and she realizes that tragedies are more common than she thought. However, the girl does not let this get her down, and helps the missionary group feed the homeless. After that, the group heads to the beach, where they help residents collect supplies and clean up the area. Meanwhile, Sarah introduces Bethany to a little boy who survived the tsunami and is now very afraid of water. Bethany immediately takes a liking to the boy and tries to cheer him up, inviting him to get on her surfboard. At first, he refuses, but the girl helps him muster up the courage, and he finally accompanies Bethany to the shallowest part of the sea. The boy's joy catches the attention of other people, who begin to gather to enjoy the day at the beach. Seeing the smiles on the survivors' faces, Bethany remembers Sarah's lesson that when we change our perspective on things, it is possible to turn tragedy into hope. After this trip, the girl returns more excited and with a new purpose in her life. Things only get better when she gets home and her family shows her dozens of letters sent by fans. Upon opening the letters, Bethany reads stories from children who were inspired by her example to pursue their dreams, despite their physical limitations. Moved by these words, the girl decides to give surfing another chance and goes to talk to her father, asking for his help for the next championship. Tommy is proud of his daughter and shows her the surfboard he has created, with a rope in the middle to help her balance better. Bethany thanks him for his help, and the next day, she decides to return to the sea, using her new surfboard. Alana also shows up to help, and the two resume their long friendship. However, they both need to give it their all, and Bethany begins even more intense training, doing push-ups and weightlifting to gain more strength and balance in her right arm. The girl's efforts soon begin to pay off, and after days of hard work, the time finally comes for the new regional championship. In addition to Alana, Melina, the previous tournament champion, is also back as one of the favorites to win. Moments before the competition begins, Bethany starts to get nervous, but her father gives her some more advice. He says that in her condition, she can't go after every wave, or she'll just tire herself out faster. Instead, Bethany should use her instinct to choose the best waves, something that only natural-born surfers are capable of doing. Finally, he points out that when a wave is forming, there is a moment of silence before it crashes back into the sea. This is the ideal moment for Bethany to concentrate and get on her board before mastering the wave with her maneuvers. The girl promises to do so and goes to get her board, just as Melina is being photographed by reporters. When she sees Bethany again, she asks what the girl is doing there, because in that condition, she will lose again. Instead of responding to the provocation, Bethany says she will do her best, and even thanks Melina for treating her like a real competitor. The girl's unexpected attitude makes Melina rethink her attitude towards Bethany, who is more determined than ever. Finally, it's time for the surfers to enter the sea, with the whole town present on the beach to watch the big event. The surfers then begin to catch the waves, with the judges giving scores for their performance and comparing the results in a ranking. Unlike the previous championship, Bethany manages to maintain her balance without difficulty, performing maneuvers in the water like a pro. Throughout the competition, surfers who fall in the waves are eliminated, leaving only 6, including Bethany, Alana, and Melina. Now, they will have to face a progressive surfing challenge, where they must catch at least 2 waves and achieve the highest score within 25 minutes. The first to start the maneuvers is Najee, who manages to make 2 vertical turns on the wave and receives a score of 6.75. Keelia, however, does not perform well and only manages a score of 5.4. When it's Alana's turn, the young woman makes 2 turns crossing the peak of the wave and leaves the session with a score of 7. A new wave approaches and Bethany tries to ride it, but ends up losing her balance and is knocked down by the water. Without wasting any time, Melina takes her place and performs maneuvers in the shallower part of the wave, achieving a near-perfect score of 9.25. With 8 minutes left in the competition, Bethany tries to catch another wave, while Alana ends up being knocked down and maintains her final score of 7 points. As for Melina, she once again shows everyone her talent on the board, achieving an even higher score of 9.5. With 5 minutes remaining, the sea seems calm, and everything indicates that Bethany will not be able to recover the score. Suddenly, a wave forms in the distance, and following her father's advice, Bethany goes with her instincts and paddles toward the wave. Melina tries to catch up with her, and the two race to see who can get there first. Melina paddles as fast as she can, but in a surprise move, Bethany dives into the water and turns her body in the opposite direction. Thanks to this, while her rival passes the wave without noticing, Bethany manages to catch it at the exact moment and climbs onto the board. Thanks to her hard training, the girl has complete control of her body and makes turns at the edge of the wave crest, impressing the entire audience. Her performance earns her a score of 9.7, but she still needs to master one more wave. The end of the time limit is approaching, and just like before, the sea seems to be very calm. With no waves in sight, the surfers stand still and wait, but Bethany feels something in her heart and continues to paddle to the farthest part of the beach. Everyone around her is worried about her, and with the clock showing only 30 seconds left, it seems that the competition has come to an end. However, when Bethany looks at the horizon, she sees a huge wave forming and paddles as fast as she can toward it. Just as the judge is about to signal the end of the competition, the young surfer manages to catch the wave and tries to ride it. The wave begins to collapse, forming a tunnel around Bethany, but she manages to pass through it, as if in perfect sync with the sea. As soon as the young surfer appears on the other side, the audience goes wild and applauds Bethany's effort. After this incredible maneuver, the girl returns to the beach and is greeted by her family and friends, who take her victory for granted. Unfortunately, the judges say that the girl caught the wave only after the alarm, and so she did not receive the score. With that, Melina is declared the big winner, and everyone revolts. But Bethany doesn't care, because she proved to herself that she is still a real surfer. After that, the competitors go to the podium, and even though she came in 5th place, Bethany celebrates this achievement like a true champion. Finally, Melina receives the 1st place prize, but this time, she recognizes the value of her rival and calls Bethany to share the trophy together. After this victory, Bethany continued her love of surfing, becoming a professional athlete and collecting awards and honors throughout her career. Her example continues to be an inspiration to others who, like her, have not let their physical limitations get in the way of their dreams. Subscribe for more recap videos.